Hey everybody, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever it is. This is an addendum, kind of an addition to my last video I did about the Bible, and it's not enough. I considered like pulling that video before it even uploaded because the title seemed a little bit, I don't know, harsh. Sometimes I think of myself as being a little harsh if I say, the good book, it's not good enough. To some people, that's very offensive. But I wanted to kind of clarify my message behind this because it's important that it's not about the book, it's not about the Bible, it's about how it's interpreted. My issue has never been really with the Bible. And I was thinking back to when I was younger and the behavior I had towards Christians. I was harsh, I was pretty harsh. I remember going to a motel one time when I was, 20 or something, in Seattle for a Bumbershoot, and there's a Bible, Gideon's Bible, in the in the drawer there, in the motel. So I like chucked it out the window, like all the way down like this whole cliff down to this road below. It was just being funny, I was being funny. I understand over the years that it was hard for me to break away from that. I guess that image of Christians that had been pressed into my mind. My friend's mom was a Christian. She forced him to go to church with her. And I saw this through a lot of my friends. One of my buddies, I went to hang out with him one time, and his parents were Mormons, and first thing we did when we got there is they forced us to do a bunch of labor and clean the house. I was just like, what the fuck is this, This is not how society acts. But anyway, that was the Mormons. But the Christians have a totally different, a different fear that they have from hell, which I find a ridiculous idea. There's no hell. Hell is what you make it here on earth and the karma that you create. But beyond that, this isn't what this is about. This is about the Bible. And I wanted to clarify that I don't believe it's a piece of garbage. I don't believe that it's useless. And when George sent me a link to Bill Donahue's work on my last video, it was just the right time to go watch him. I'd seen Bill before. He's done some great work on the symbolism in the Bible. And if you listen to him, he speaks of things that are very similar. If you've heard of Spirit Science, that was a great kind of animated series that kind of gave people the lowdown of symbolism of the Bible, but at the same time it threw in a lot of stuff that was very, like Lemuria and Atlantis and all this stuff as fact that, people are like, okay, I don't know if this is true. But you can take what you can from each one of these ideas, each one of these patterns of thought, each one of these religions, and realize what they have in common, the similarities, which is that Jesus, the teachings were meant to be internal. It was finding enlightenment within the self. Everything in the Bible points to that. And the video that George sent me the link to, it was a perfect one to watch today because it really kind of tied up some loose ends for me, things that I'd been trying to figure out on my own. The explanations, I've already known that, about the pineal gland. I'm well aware of the whole idea of light and Jesus and Lucifer and all the different ideas behind religion, but there are too many different interpretations, so it's hard to know what's true, or maybe even what people really believe, because people don't even know what they believe. I sure as hell didn't, and I've looked into all kinds of stuff. But he talked about photons and electrons, and God as an electromagnetic source. That is the most holy, rational way of thinking. Most I guess, not only a bold statement to say God is electromagnetism, but very accurate in this electric universe paradigm that we're entering now. And we're starting to see things that we never realized. The sun isn't what we thought it was. I believe it's hotter on the outside than the inside. It's got, it's acting kind of like a neon bulb is what they're thinking. It's an electric source, beads on a string. The electric universe theory goes on and on, but it ties into this perfectly, that the body is receptive to these photons. And we know the body has its electromagnetic field. So, Jesus taught to find this within oneself. And the big argument I have, or that the Christians have with folks like us that talk about this stuff, is to say that everything, looking within, meditating, holding on to anything that's different, or looking anywhere outside of the Bible is blasphemy and punishable by an eternity in hell. And that way of thinking is holding us back as a species. There's no way around it. I mean, I may be wishy-washy about some of my thoughts and adjust them, but that's one I know, deep in my heart, that is wrong. That we're not supposed to not look within. That we're not supposed to just take the Bible and say nothing else is valid. That's just not right. And this idea behind the photons, it really puts something into perspective. It starts to put the Word of God as light, electromagnetism. The voice in mine was always vibration. The Word of God was always vibration. And electromagnetism is a form of vibration. Everything is. But in order to really understand this stuff, you have to take so many science courses and understand how quantum physics works. And even the quantum physicians don't understand how it works. In fact, a lot of scientists won't even touch quantum physics because it totally goes against all of their findings. It shows that there's an effect of an observer effect and a quantum non-locality, which means that two things can be at the same affected no matter how far apart they are at any distance. All the strange things that we encounter, like irreducible complexity, things like the eyeball, the heart, the body. How do all these things come to be? And as humans, we yearn for a capacity for knowledge, and we also yearn to have answers to the questions so we can move on. So we create a religion. And a religion, after a time, people start to dispute this religion. So what's the best way to keep people in line in a religion? Well, it's to invent a hell. You're always being watched. If you do this wrong, you're going to hell. And that's bad enough, but the whole idea is that I think that some of the religious leaders in the past have seen that people are finding enlightenment from within, and they're bypassing the church, so they're not collecting their funds, and and this is carried on from till today, to where they don't want people seeking meditation or enlightenment. They want to say that that's demonic possession, that's evil, but the very fact is these people are happier. They're happier people. Folks who meditate are peaceful and loving people. And if that's what it takes to go to hell, is to be a peaceful person, then perhaps this universe is ass backwards. But I don't believe it. So, to end with this, before I go too long, I just wanted to say that I do believe the Bible is valid. I do believe it has a very strong purpose. That's where I wanted to kind of clarify. I don't believe any of it is literal. And on that same note, I want to end with a question to people. Was Jesus a real person? And this one's gone over and over in my mind, and I've heard so many different theories about it. We've got the Shroud and all these different things, Shroud of Turin. All of this stuff is circumstantial evidence. The Shroud doesn't mean it was Jesus. The Shroud could be anyone, or it could be a fake. It doesn't matter. All these different things, the witnesses, the people who were there. But there's a whole different side of it, to where people say that Jesus is symbolic of the Son of God, the Son. The reason why, for any Christian who doesn't know this, and all of them should, the reason why December 25th is a holiday is because it's the rising of the sun. It's the winter solstice, The 21st is the solstice. The sun begins to rise again on the 25th. That's pretty well known in today's world, that a lot of, like Easter is the spring solstice. How many people, or the equinox, sorry, how many people actually, really understand the things that they're celebrating? No, they dress up nice and go to church and think that's what Easter's about. That's bullshit, that's dumb. That's not doing your homework. And the more I looked into it, I guess the point is, the more I found that it was valid, that there's all these symbols like Jesus as the sun. So, was Jesus a real person or not? Was he an archetype just written down to symbolize our own enlightenment? Or was he a real person? I mean, what about all this evidence of him really existing? If so, maybe is it a as above, so below thing? Is it a fractal pattern? Was Jesus a real person that really did these things, but at the same time we're supposed to do these things within ourselves, and maybe our own selves do their own thing? Fractals have so many dimensions that they're impossible to really tie down. They're not just visual patterns. Fractals are electromagnetic patterns. Fractals are as above, so below. These are irreducible patterns of life that are cyclical, that we don't understand how they work. And anybody who pretends like they do is lying. And that's the thing. Maybe not lying in the sense that they truly are lying, but they don't believe it. They don't, I should say that they're wrong. Because I haven't met anybody yet who is so damn adamant about what they believe that they have the answers. I think that the people who have found the strongest answers are the ones who have stopped trying to find the answer. Because the ultimate seeking is to to learn everything you can and then to let it all go. And then I don't have any desire to find anything because I know that when I'm trying to find something, it will never come. So when I just let life kind of take me where it goes, I mean, I don't get on YouTube and just seek. It's not my thing anymore. But when a video comes, it's always at the right time. And this one made me question, was Jesus a real person? Did he really exist? And that's something that's really a complicated issue, I guess. And, people are going to say yes, people are going to say no. But I do know that the Son and Jesus are, very interrelated. So people should check out Bill Donahue or Spirit Science if you haven't seen that. They're all interesting. I guess, people would say that they're evil because they're not biblical, but to each his own, right? Thanks, George, for the referral, and everybody have a good day.